Hello, we'll continue with Act 1, Scene 1 of Julius Caesar. So, each of Shakespeare's plays is divided into five acts, and each act is divided into several scenes. So, here we have Act 1, Scene 1, in which we're told enter Flavius, Marullus, and certain commoners, including a carpenter and a cobbler, over the stage. So, Flavius and Marullus are high ranking officials in Rome, they're tribunes, and there are also certain commoners. Commoners are ordinary people. These commoners include a carpenter and a cobbler. So, Flavius is speaking to the commoners. He says, "Hence, home, you idle creatures, get you home. Is this a holiday? What? Know you not, being mechanical, you ought not to walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession? Speak, what trade art thou?" So Flavius tells the commoners to return to their homes. Hence means go away. So he says, return to your home. He calls them idle creatures. And he asks them, is this a holiday? So on a holiday, the people, working people, are not supposed to be walking on the streets of the city. But here, they've all gathered together, and Flavius is angry because it's a working day and these people are celebrating as though it's a holiday. And he asks them, know you not, being mechanical, you ought not to walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession? So he says it's a laboring day. Laboring day is one of the 6 days of the week, Monday to Saturday. Sunday is the day of rest. So on laboring day, they being mechanical. Mechanical means following a certain craft. What a certain craft means, like a carpenter. A carpenter has a definite skill. He uses certain rules to form his tables, chairs, and all those things, items of furniture. He is a mechanical worker. So Flavius tells the commoners, you are all mechanical, so don't you know that you ought not to walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession? Sign of your profession is each working, laboring person has to have, signboard or something like that. His dress, for example, a carpenter or a cook may wear an apron, a particular type of cap. So they ought not to walk on the streets without the sign of their profession. And he asked them angrily, speak, what trade art thou? He asked the carpenter. The carpenter replies, why, sir, a carpenter. Marullus, he is also angry with the commoners. Where is thy leather apron and thy rule? Where is your ruler to measure the wood? Where is your leather apron? And what dost thou with thy best apparel on? So why are you wearing your best clothes, your holiday clothes? You, sir, what trade are you? He asks another commoner what trade he is. Cobbler. Truly, sir, in respect of a fine workman, I am but, as you would say, a cobbler. So the cobbler answers that he is only a cobbler, but he is a fine workman. Marullus, what trade art thou? Answer me directly. So the cobbler says, a trade, sir, that I hope I may use with a safe conscience, which is indeed, sir, a mender of bad souls. So the cobbler says that he mends bad souls. Soul is the part of the shoe or the slipper which touches the ground. So he mends the bad souls. He cobbles the shoes and slippers. So he hopes that he can pursue his trade with a safe conscience. He's not doing anything wrong. Flavius, what trade thou not in a what trade? Cobbler, nay, I beseech you, sir, be not out with me. Yet if you be out, I can mend you. The cobbler says, I beg of you, sir, I beseech you, sir, be not out with me. Don't be angry with me. Yes, and now he uses a play on words. He says, "If you be out, I can mend you," which means that if he is outside, he can mend his shoes. On the other hand, it also means if he is angry, then he can calm him down. Unless becomes really angry. What means thou by that? What do you mean by that? Mend me, thou saucy fellow. So he says, what do you mean by saying you'll mend me? Why, sir, cobble you? So cobble means he'll repair the shoes. Thou art a cobbler, art thou? Truly, sir, all that I live is by is with the awl. The awl is an instrument used by cobblers to stitch the leather. It says, all that he lives, his only tool is the awl. I meddle with no tradesmen's matters, nor women's matters, but withal, I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. So he says, uh, I don't mind anybody else's business. You know, I don't become inquisitive or curious about what other people are doing, including women. And he says, he's a surgeon to old shoes. When they're in great danger, I recover them. So when the shoes are about to fall apart, he mends them. As proper men as ever trod upon its leather have gone upon my handiwork. And he says, uh, very proper men, very upper class men as ever trod. Trod means has ever walked upon neat's leather. Neat is another word for ox. So people who wear oxen leather footwear have gone upon his handiwork. Flavius, but wherefore art not in thy shop today? Why dost thou lead these men about the streets? So Flavius asked him, why are you not in your shop today? Why do you form a gang or a group of, you know, well, why do you form a gang or group and go about the streets? But the cobbler says, truly, sir, to wear out the shoes, to get myself into more work. But indeed, sir, we make holiday to see Caesar and to rejoice in his triumph. And so the cobbler says, he makes a joke. He says, I'm leading this gang or group about the streets so that he can get more trade. When the people of that gang or group wear out their shoes or slippers, the cobbler will get more work. But however, he says that they're all going to see Caesar and rejoice in his triumph as he returns to Rome. Marvelous. Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings him home? What tributaries follows him to Rome? To grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels. You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome. Knew you not Pompey? Many a time and oft have you climbed up to walls and battlements, to towers and windows, yea, to chimney tops, your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day with patient expectation to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. So Marcellus becomes really angry. He asks them, why do they rejoice? Why are they putting on a celebration? What victory are they celebrating? Does Caesar bring home any conquest home? What tributaries follow him to Rome? He asks. Tributaries are the tributes, the treasure, the wealth that a conqueror gets from the conquered. So he asks, what tributaries follow Caesar to Rome? Or which of the conquered kings follow him to Rome behind his chariot? So those conquered kings who lost the battles in ancient times, they were tied to the chariot of the victorious king and they were led through the streets of the city. And so Marilus asked, which tributaries follow him to Rome to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels? And he berates or scolds the people. He says, you blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, knew you not Pompey? He asked them, do you not remember Pompey, the great general who was defeated by Caesar? And he reminds them, many a time and oft have you climbed up to walls and basic battlements. And he tells them, they have often received Pompey many times before. They've climbed the walls of the streets. They've climbed up to the battlements of the houses. They climbed up the towers and windows. And they climbed even to the chimney tops. And they had their infants and they had their babies in their arms. And there you have sat, he reminds them, the livelong day with patient expectation. They waited patiently for Pompey to return, and they waited to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. And when you saw his chariot but appear, have you not made a universal shout that Tiber trembled underneath her banks to hear the replication of your sounds made in a concave shores? So he says, he reminds the commoners, did you not wait to see Pompey pass the streets of Rome? And when his chariot was in the distance, when he was on the outskirts of Rome, when his chariot was but a speck or a dot in the distance, did you not welcome him with a universal shout? Did not all of you give him a victorious welcome shout? And that shout, those shouts were so voluble, they were so loud that the river Tiber outside the city of Rome trembled in a concave shores. So the water of the Tiber trembled to hear the shouts which you people used to welcome Pompey back to Rome, and now you have forgotten the great Pompey, and you are welcoming his enemy Caesar. Do you not have any memories? Yes. And do you now put on your best attire, and do you now cull out a holiday? And he asked them, you are now putting on your best holiday clothes, your best attire, and you're culling out a holiday from a working week. And do you not strew flowers in his way that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? And now do you want to welcome Caesar, who has been victorious over the sons of Pompey? Pompey was defeated by Caesar. The sons of Pompey wanted to take revenge. They fought Caesar. Caesar defeated the sons of Pompey, and he was victorious over Pompey's blood. And now you want to strew flowers to welcome Caesar? Be gone. Run to your houses, fall upon your knees, pray to the gods to intermit the plague that needs must light on this ingratitude. So he tells them, run to your houses, fall upon your knees, and the gods will punish the whole of Rome because of the ingratitude which you have shown to the memory of Pompey. And you must fall upon your knees and pray to the gods because they'll send a plague because you've been ungrateful to the memory of Pompey. Flavius, go, good countrymen, and for this fault assemble all the poor men of your sort, draw them to Tiber banks, and weep your tears into the channel, till the lowest stream do kiss the most exalted shores of all. And so Flavius told them, go, good countrymen, people of Rome, go from here. This fault of your ingratitude, this fault of your ungratefulness, for this fault of your ungratefulness, ingratitude, assemble all the commoners, assemble all the poor men of your sort, take them to the banks of the Tiber, and weep into the Tiber. So the water of the Tiber should rise till it kiss the most exalted shores of all. The most exalted shore of all is the sky. Till the water of the Tiber rises to the sky, weep into the channel to show that you have not forgotten. Okay. All the commoners exit. See whether their basest metal be not moved. They vanish tongue-tied in their guiltiness. And Flavius tells Marcellus, look, the people of base metal. Metal is M-E-T-T-L-E. Metal means character. Base means low. See these people of low characters. They are not moved, but they vanish. They vanish into the streets. They're tongue-tied in their guiltiness. They cannot face the guilt they feel, so they vanish silently. And Flavius tells Marcellus, go you down that way towards the capital. This way will I disrobe the images, if you do find them decked with ceremonies. And Flavius tells Marcellus, you go down this road, I'll go down this road. We will remove the decorations that have been put on the statues and the busts of Caesar, if they are decked with ceremonies, if they are decorated, uh, we will remove the the decorations. So may we do so. You know it is the feast of Lupercal. So Marlis asked, to remove decorations from the busts or the statues of the great general Caesar. It is an offense punishable with execution. And he asked, may we do so? And besides, he says, it is a feast of Lupercal. Flavius, it is no matter. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies. So Flavius says, it doesn't matter. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies. Let none of Caesar's statues be decorated. I'll about and drive the vulgar from the streets. So do you too, where you perceive them thick. So he says, I'll go about the streets of Rome. I'll drive the commoners, I'll drive the vulgar from the streets. You do so too, where you perceive them thick, where you see them gathered together, disperse them. These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch. Who else would but soar above the view of men and keep us all in servile fearfulness? And so he says, these people, they're making Caesar more and more popular. But if we disperse the crowds, if we make them one or two, then Caesar's popularity will seem to come down. The growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch. Right now, he's like an eagle. He's soaring in the blue ether of the sky. But if we diminish his popularity, if we reduce his popularity by diminishing the welcome that the people of Rome are going to give him, he will fly an ordinary pitch. He'll fly at an ordinary height. Otherwise, he would soar above the view of men and keep us all in servile fearfulness. He'll keep us all in servile. Servile means like a servant. He'll keep us all in servile fearfulness.